1. Liverpool closing in on Hugo Ekitike, could Marmoush wish come true? 2. Liverpool target Hugo Ekitike as Alexander Isak move falls through, transfer update 2025. 3. Alexander Isak and Hugo Ekitike, transfer saga unveiled. 1. Liverpool closing in on Hugo Ekitike, could Marmoush wish come true? In a stunning twist for Premier League rivals, Liverpool's pursuit of Hugo Ekitike might just grant the young striker's heartfelt wish, but in the fiercest way possible. The Reds are closing in on the French forward as their next marquee signing, hot on the heels of their record-breaking Florian Wirtz acquisition. And here's where it gets juicy. Ekitike's dream of reuniting with former teammate Omar Marmoush could materialize through one of football's most intense rivalries. This potential transfer isn't just another roster move, it's a strategic play for a classic centre-forward while reshaping Liverpool's attacking dynamics. Consider how this affects Wirtz. The German playmaker's role might evolve with a dedicated goalscorer ahead of him. Ekitike arrives with impressive pedigree, having shared pitches with legends like Lionel Messi, who even coined a personal nickname for him. Imagine him linking up at Anfield with creative forces like Wirtz and the irreplaceable Mohamed Salah, a terrifying prospect for defenders. But here's the emotional core, Ekitike's connection to Marmoush. At Eintracht Frankfurt, these two were an electric duo, combining for 25 Bundesliga goals in just half a season. That partnership ended abruptly when Manchester City snatched Marmoush in January. Though Marmoush adapted well at City, 7 goals and 2 assists in 15 league games, his output couldn't match those explosive Frankfurt days with Ekitike. No wonder Ekitike openly yearned for their reunion, telling Bundesliga media, "We shared great moments. I hope we play together or face each other soon." Now brace for the delicious irony. Liverpool could deliver that face-off Ekitike craved, but dressed in the colours of English football's defining rivalry. If this transfer completes, we'd witness Ekitike in red against Marmoush in blue, a personal story woven into the Liverpool-City clash that's dominated the Premier League for a decade. But here's where it gets complicated. Negotiations with Frankfurt are ongoing despite Liverpool agreeing to personal terms with Ekitike. And Frankfurt are notoriously tough dealers, just ask Newcastle, who walked away after rejected bids once Liverpool entered the race. Manchester United's lingering interest adds another layer, though they've hesitated to commit. Sporting director Richard Hughes must navigate these tricky waters carefully. Consider the timing. Ekitike would join a Liverpool side currently dominating City, fresh off a league title won without a truly effective striker. Darwin Núñez underperformed as the central forward, often benched for an out-of-position Luis Diaz, and now heads for the exit. This creates a golden opportunity for Ekitike to become the focal point Arne Slot's system needs, especially with Wirtz feeding him passes. So what's the verdict? Could this signing actually tip the rivalry further in Liverpool's favour? Picture the narrative. November 8th's first Ekitike-Marmoush showdown promises fireworks. But let's debate, is investing heavily in a striker worth the negotiation headache given Frankfurt's reputation? And does this transfer signal Liverpool's intent to extend their supremacy over City? Share your thoughts below. Is this a masterstroke or a risky gamble? 2. Liverpool target Hugo Ekitike as Alexander Isak move falls through, transfer update 2025. Liverpool in talks to sign Ekitike as Isak remains unavailable, sources ESPN. By Beth Lindop and Julian Lorenz, July 17, 2025, 9:10 a.m. Eastern Time. Liverpool is making progress in negotiations to acquire striker Hugo Ekitike from Eintracht Frankfurt, according to ESPN sources. The Premier League champions are looking to bolster their attack amidst uncertainty over Darwin Núñez's future. Earlier this week, Liverpool rejected a €67.5 million, £78.5 million offer from Bayern Munich for Luis Diaz and inquired about Newcastle United's Alexander Isak, but were informed he was not available. The Reds have now shifted their focus to Ekitike, with a bid expected in the coming days as talks have rapidly progressed. Manchester United is also reportedly interested in the forward, though sources indicate he favors a move to Anfield. Newcastle saw a £64.9 million bid for Ekitike rejected by Frankfurt, who are demanding between €80 million and €90 million. Ekitike impressed last season with 22 goals and 12 assists across all competitions for Frankfurt after joining from Paris Saint-Germain in 2024. 3. Alexander Isak and Hugo Ekitike, transfer saga unveiled. Imagine the chaos of a last-minute plot twist in your favorite thriller. That's exactly what the football transfer market delivered this week with Alexander Isak and Hugo Ekitike. One moment, Liverpool is chasing Newcastle's star striker Isak, and the next, they're pivoting to sign Eintracht Frankfurt's rising talent Ekitike, while Newcastle holds firm on keeping their prized asset. It's a roller coaster that's got fans buzzing, and you won't want to miss the juicy details of how it all unfolded in just 72 hours. Let's start by setting the stage. Liverpool, fresh off clinching their second Premier League title with an impressive 86 goals, the highest in the league that season, seemed set for the summer. Their main man, Mohamed Salah, had just inked a new deal, so on the surface, why mess with a winning formula? But head coach Arne Slot had bigger visions. He identified a need for a top-tier number 9 striker. Slot had been giving chances to Darwin Núñez throughout the campaign, but it became clear he was looking for someone to elevate that position even further. Núñez might even head out of Anfield soon, with clubs like Napoli and teams from Saudi Arabia showing interest, which could open the door for a fresh face. Liverpool's ideal target? None other than Newcastle's Alexander Isak, a player who's also caught Arsenal's eye. But with Isak being crucial to Newcastle's boss Eddie Howe and likely commanding a hefty fee close to £130 million, Liverpool knew they had to have backup options. They considered a range of forwards, including Sporting's Victor Gyökeres, RB Leipzig's Benjamin Sesko, Aston Villa's Ollie Watkins, and Brentford's Yoane Wissa. And now, their pursuit of Ekitike has proven just as intense as their admiration for Isak. Rumors about Liverpool eyeing Isak have been swirling all summer, and this week's official approach to Newcastle only confirmed what insiders were whispering. But here's where it gets controversial: the timing of that move feels a bit off. Why push hard for Isak right when Newcastle is making a big play for Ekitike? Speaking of Newcastle, they kicked off the week by slapping down a £70 million bid for Ekitike, only to see it rejected. Fast forward less than 2 days, and Liverpool has shifted gears to target Ekitike themselves, which probably cools their immediate hunt for Isak. Meanwhile, Newcastle is now scouting alternatives, with Wissa back on their radar. Was Liverpool's flirtation with Isak just a clever smokescreen to negotiate better deals or test the waters? It's a genuine interest for sure. Liverpool really wants Isak, but Newcastle has been adamant publicly that he's not on the market. Yet, for Liverpool to ramp up their efforts suggests they might have picked up some quiet hints that a deal could be possible. And this is the part most people miss: even if Ekitike joins Liverpool, Isak isn't off their wish list. The Swedish forward, who came from Real Sociedad, is heading into the last 2 years of his contract next summer, putting Newcastle in a tougher spot then. Liverpool might not need another striker by then, but if they do, Isak could still be in the mix. On Newcastle's end, if Ekitike ends up at Liverpool and Gyökeres is off to Arsenal, the club feels pretty secure about holding on to Isak for now. From a pure performance angle, it makes sense. The 25-year-old is quickly becoming one of Europe's top centre-forwards, with his sharp finishing and ability to turn games. But there's more to it than stats. Newcastle knows that selling Isak, especially after insisting he's untouchable, could send the wrong message to fans and stakeholders. With the team returning to the Champions League next season, the last thing they want is to fuel negativity around their ambitious project, backed by Saudi Arabia's public investment fund. Players like Anthony Gordon and Bruno Guimaraes are also key, and losing any of them might raise eyebrows about the club's direction. Now, why did Liverpool decide to go after Ekitike? Well, if they pull this off, Newcastle might look back and regret passing on a £20 million deal for him 3 years ago, only to sign Isak instead. Ekitike has skyrocketed in value thanks to his emergence as one of the continent's brightest young strikers. His impressive tally of 26 goals in 47 games for Frankfurt has big clubs circling, and when Liverpool comes calling, it's hard to say no. The deal could top £70 million, and Liverpool's sporting director Richard Hughes is pushing to wrap it up by the weekend. For Newcastle, the search for a new striker continues, with Wissa in their sights. But things could get complicated if Manchester United's bid for Brentford's Bryan Mbeumo affects Wissa's availability. Brentford is digging in their heels, not wanting to lose both players amid all the changes they're dealing with this summer. Still, Newcastle insiders will tell you that keeping Isak solves a lot of their issues. The club has always been clear, he's not for sale. Heading into the Champions League, they have no desire to let go of their stars. Financially, they're in a solid spot with PSR, that's profit and sustainability rules, which are basically guidelines to keep clubs from overspending and ensure long-term financial health. For example, these rules limit losses over a 3-year period, helping clubs like Newcastle avoid penalties. Football finance expert Kieran Maguire points out that Newcastle's losses from 2021 to 22 will soon drop off their PSR calculations, and with increased revenues from commercial deals, better matchday earnings, and Champions League qualification bonuses, their finances look much healthier. They had a pre-tax loss of £157 million up to June 2024, but that's expected to improve. Plus, with Isak's contract running for 3 more years, he'd probably have to push for a move himself for anything to happen. Newcastle's wage bill was already among the top 8 in the Premier League last season, giving them room to offer competitive deals and keep their squad intact. But here's where it gets controversial. Some might argue that in the high-stakes world of transfers, clubs like Newcastle should consider cashing in on assets like Isak to fund other areas, especially with interest from powerhouses like Liverpool. Is holding firm always the best strategy, or could a big sale supercharge their rebuild? As for Liverpool, pivoting to Ekitike might be smart, but what if Isak proves to be the better long-term bet? What do you think? Should Newcastle stick to their guns and keep Isak, or is it time to entertain offers? And do you believe Liverpool's move for Ekitike is a step up, or are they settling? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear if you agree or have a different take on this transfer drama.